It's Thursday. It's Thursday. My favorite day. It's Thursday. Great day. As you no doubt heard, it's my favorite day of the week. My show is on. Don't call me. Don't talk to me until I finish my show. And now that I've finished it, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. And what are we talking about? We are talking about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 8, The Life of the Stars. A visiting instructor arrives at the academy and uses an unorthodox method to help the cadets process the emotions of what it takes to be a Starfleet officer. Whoever write these blurbs, they could probably tune it up a little bit. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining because everybody tries to spoil everything before you get a chance to see it. So I definitely avoid spoilers of all kinds. Even though this one I really couldn't avoid because we've been talking about it practically since this season began. So who is that visiting instructor that's coming by to help these kids out? It's Tilly. Lieutenant Sylvia Tilly reporting to the San Francisco campus of Starfleet Academy. So yeah, I'm happy to see Tilly. I miss my Discovery peeps. So Nala called her up and said, listen, these kids, they're not dealing well with what happened on the Miyazaki. So I'm going to need you to come and help us out. Bring out the big guns. Because what we're doing is not working. These kids are still freaking out. These children. Because with the exception of Caleb is like the only one who's practically an adult. But the rest of these cadets, at the youngest, are 17. So, of course, this is, a major thing that's happened to them, and they're not dealing well. None of them are dealing well. And we're going to start with the main one who wasn't dealing well. Miss Tarima is back in town with a shiny new inhibitor, not the medical doohickey that I couldn't get out of my mouth 2 reviews ago. She's got a shiny new inhibitor, and I'm willing to bet they told her, now yank this one out if you wanna. 'Cause, nah, sis. She's greeted, of course, by Chancellor Ake and the doctor. And, of course, as she comes in, you notice she's not wearing her War College uniform. Why is that? I'm willing to bet her father had to make her transfer to Starfleet Academy in order for her to come back. Because she definitely was not happy about that. And I don't really agree with that. They probably should have at least given her the option. But she's a minor, so she probably had to do what her daddy told her to do in order for her to come back to Starfleet Academy. And then, of course, in the debriefing, the mini debriefing that they were doing with her, the doctor lets her know, okay, what you did, it saved a lot of lives, but you can't do that no more. You do that again, you're gone, you're out of here. So your body cannot take that. So hopefully we're going to teach you how to channel that power properly so that it doesn't do you any harm. Understandable. But again, she's not happy. Okay, gotta give props to Big Brother Occam. He was right there by her side as she tries to integrate back into Starfleet Academy, but away from her friends at the War College and away from, I guess, a barrier that she chooses to put up between her and Caleb. Now, the only thing that I could quibble about, and this is a really good episode, and I'm just being nitpicky at this point. But the one thing I could quibble about is, why haven't we seen how the War College is doing after the loss of Bobby and Tomov? I wouldn't mind seeing a few minutes of that Romulan heifer, Zolo. Okay, because I'm pretty sure Bobby was her friend, her pal. So they should at least show us how she's doing if she didn't leave. And if she did, just give us a line that Cadet Zolo has left the War College. I'm expecting at least a line about that frisky cadet that we don't have the name of, who is just freaking out over everything. I fully expected her to be gone after what happened to Miyazaki. So, just give us a line. You don't have to even show us her name. Just say that Cadet such and such, whatever her name was, she has decided to drop out of Starfleet Academy. Not that hard. Because Kyle is still there. Kyle still has a little anchor there in Jaden. So I'm just curious as how the War College is doing. And of course, I know that Kelrec was probably not the best choice to help Tarima or someone with Tarima's abilities. But I still think that they should have had at least a line of saying, listen, I know it wasn't your choice, but we didn't have a choice, and we wanted you to come back. So, and Kelrec was not going to be good for you at the War College. So they could have cleaned that up just a little bit. The fun things that we find out in this episode: Sam and Genesis are roommates. And they're about to gain another roommate in Tarima. And we find this out because Sam was moving things around and accidentally dropped Genesis' toothbrush in the toilet. And of course, when Genesis is like, what was you moving our stuff around for? Oh, Tarima's going to be our new roommate. So now there's another three-piece right across the hall from Darum, Caleb, and Occam. Really strange that they seem to have a premium of space in the War College, where it looked like Tarima was in a room by herself, to now she's rooming. School life. The not so fun thing is that Sam is still glitching. And apparently has been glitching ever since spring break. Because that patch that the holographic spa put in is not taking. It's not staying. And she's glitching more and more, but she manages to hide it from people for a little while until this class with Tilly. Our intrepid cadets have been enrolled in a theater course. And of course, they're all like, why we gotta do theater? What is this about? Okay. And of course, they don't cotton to what it's actually about until much later on. But Tilly here has been hired to help these cadets work out their trauma. So, of course, Tarima kind of catches it right off the bat. But before she gets even more belligerent, Sam glitches out, falls to the floor. Oh yeah, and in a totally unrelated type of scene, Jaden has a cold. And Tilly promptly tells him I'll excuse you. You ain't going to sit there and make us all sick. Go on and lie down somewhere until you become less contagious. Weird. Part 2. Now, before Sam collapses to the ground, it had been decided that this particular course is going to study the play Our Town. So, of course, anybody who's been in school in America is well familiar with that play. I'm pretty sure half of the folks watching have actually participated in being in the play, Our Town. I've read it, but it was so many years ago. So after a while, it came back to me, and I was like, wow. That fact that they would still be studying an old English American play in the 32nd century. So before all the excitement happens, Tilly had decided to do that after sending Jaden away since he was clearly sick after his presentation on Klingon plays. So after the assignments were given out and all seemed to be well, Sam crashes out on the floor. MVP of this episode, Robert Picardo as the doctor. And he came in hot. Sam opens her eyes in sickbay, and the doctor was all like, so, you've been glitching for quite a while, but how is it that I'm just now hearing about it? I thought things was cool when we sent you to that spa in Denver. So she had to admit that she's still been glitching. So after he looks her over, he was like, oh man, I don't think I can fix this. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So Ake comes in and she's like, well, if the folks in Denver couldn't fix what was going on, and if the doctor can't fix you, I guess we're going to have to go to your home world. Going back to your makers to see what they can do for you. And of course, she was all like, all right, let's get on the shuttle right now and go. Doctor was like, Cask is not in the Federation. It's not like they have to help us, and they might keep her. So Ake was like, look, this is a chance that we're going to have to take, because you're not going to go down on my watch. So Ake, the doctor, and Sam get in a shuttle. They get in the shuttle to go to Cask. Now, y'all know the doctor's been acting really funky towards Sam ever since he met her in episode 1. And he really did not want to do this. He really didn't want to do this. And we don't find out until later why he reacts to Sam the way he does, when she clearly looks on him as a mentor. She's like, okay, you're like me. Perhaps you can help me, because I'm really only 200 some odd days old. I look like a 17-year-old, but I have no life experience. I have no reference by living with organics, and you could help me. You're like me. And the doc was like, nah, sis. No, I'm not interested. I don't want to help you. Now, we figured that, this is something that had to come back to his long life and the people he's lost along the way. But we don't find out until a little bit later just how deep that actually goes. Of course, during this trip, Sam just kind of says, I don't understand why you treating me so bad. Why are you so funky towards me? Listen, I look up to you. My people look up to you. What is the deal? And she gets so worked up that she starts glitching again. So she decides to take a nap so that she doesn't get herself worked up any further. And Ake is looking on. She knows that something's not quite right, but she says nothing. She just makes a notation of it. And of course, poor doctor. He is just done. But you can't go back, because now they're up on Cask. And then we get to go in and meet the makers. But not really, because there's still the blue lightning coming down from the sky. And they're inside of a place where has been digitally rendered to look like the atrium at Starfleet Academy. So I guess to make Ake a little bit more comfortable, since, okay, she's not a photonic. So the makers, they're all like, well, we haven't heard from you in a minute, so imagine our surprise that you show up here and that you're damaged. What happened? What had happened? And of course, Sam was like, what had happened was, but they're like, no, never mind. Let's see if we can fix you. So they shimmer over her. They're like, well, we have to do a deep check to see what's up. And of course, Sam is, of course, freaked out, and she's looking for some measure of comfort from the doctor. She asks to hold his hand while they're doing the scan, but he just can't do it. And that hurts our poor Sammy so much. He made Samelina cry. And I was like, listen here, Doc, you're going to have to make up for that, because that wasn't even right. So now, Sam is getting scanned by the makers. So we get to find out what the deal is. Meanwhile, at Starfleet Academy, Tarima got in her cups and decides to call Caleb out to, I guess they're in a classroom or somewhere. I don't know exactly where they are, because of course he can't come to her room. She can't come to his. Full of people. So she calls him out to get together, to try to reconcile a little bit. But again, she is deep in her cups. Okay, so Caleb just sits there. He's like, okay, listen, I'm so sorry for the way I treated you. I'm so sorry that I didn't get in contact with you quick enough after you went back to Beta Z, you know? And it's clear that they're still hot for each other. And it's really funny to watch Tarima stumbling around, you know, until they finally end up sitting down on the floor. And then she decides to get a little frisky with Caleb. But I am so proud of Caleb. He did not go any further. He put a stop to that real quick. He's like, nah, sis. You're not in your right mind, okay? You're not in your right frame of mind. You're drunk. And if we go through with this, you're going to be more pissed at me than you already are. But that, of course, makes her angrier. So she's like, all right, you know what? Fine. I don't even want to mess with you. Why would you want to mess with me anyway? I'm a monster. Maybe you like living dangerously to be with me. And then he's like, all right, sis, you're drunk. I'm going to let you take that down a notch before you say something you'll really regret. So Tarima goes back to her room. And of course, Genesis is there, and she's marveling because Sam just up and left and didn't tell nobody anything. So they figure it's really serious for them to just up and disappear with the doctor and the chancellor. So she notices, oh, my girl is in the cups here. And then Tarima, starts getting to business. She's like, you know what? You remind me of a girl on Beta Z, and I'm so sorry that I held that against you, because I really didn't like you because of that, and because you might be creeping on Caleb. Now, Genesis is a real one. While allowing Tarima to pour out her sorrows on her bunk, she lets her know, listen, you ain't got to worry about me and Caleb. That's my friend. That's my bro. Okay? Because these two do not have like a romantic chemistry between them. It's more like a sibling type of chemistry. Okay? There's no Darum and whoever going on here. Darren is the one who has chemistry with the walls and the plants. But these two, not romantic. So I'm hoping that folks will finally let go of the just because it's a YA type show that they have to have love triangles and all that nonsense. I'm hoping that they don't. All right? Let Genesis be single or find somebody over in the War College for her to roll with if you simply must pair her up with somebody. Now, again, Genesis tells Tarima, nah, that's your boo. I don't have nothing for him, and he don't got nothing for me. So you got to decide whether or not you're going to let him go or forgive him for all of his sins. And yes, you should forgive Sandro Rasta of his sins, because look at him. Since Sam is gone, she gives her part to Tarima. And of course, Tarima's not having it. Tarima's not having it at all. So eventually, everything comes to a head with the second meeting about this play. And, of course, Caleb is playing the male love interest in the plays, which really, really sets her off. So Tilly goes, listen, this is something that you'd have to participate in now. You want me to fail you, but I'm not going to fail you. Because, I mean, really, what good would that do? So Tarima finally gets tired and says, look, I'm not with this. Don't y'all see what this is? This is some group therapy session so that we will pour all of our trauma out on the floor. And of course, the other ones are like, well, yeah, we're all traumatized. I mean, girl. So Tilly has to give her a little pep talk like, listen, we know the parallels between this person in this play and you. But you can come through with this. You don't have to hold on to this trauma so tight. You don't have to block out your friends and the people you care about. And of course, it's just too much for Tarima, so she just says, F this, I'm out. So you have a scene of her going back to the room and packing. Like she's really going to leave. Okay, Akam is like, listen, this is really tough, and we're losing Sam. I don't want to lose my sister too. I mean, and they're just sitting there and they're just commiserating. So they decide, well, we're going to have to work through this trauma and we're going to get this play popping because that's what Sam would want. So they get their stuff together and they start working out the scenes and everything. And Tarima comes back to join in. I guess she decided not to run after all. Meanwhile, on Cask. Inside the Cask homeworld, they deliver really bad news. They can't fix Sam. So whatever it is she's going through, it's totally jamming up her programming. And she's resetting with every glitch. And eventually, there'll be nothing left. And then there's nothing they could do. Of course, AK and the doctor are aghast. Because I was like, come on now, you mean to tell me y'all can't help her? Y'all created her. And then, of course, the sassy comeback is, yeah, it took us centuries to create her, and it only took y'all 200 some odd days to destroy her. So, we're just not going to bother. We're going to just shut her down and then call it a day, because y'all were the ones that messed this up for us. So the doctor, of course, now he's all like racked with guilt now because he's like, oh, wow. I could have, given her some sort of comfort. And then he explains why. Sam's very presence triggered him so. Way back on Voyager, the doctor created a holographic family: wife, daughter, son. Sam reminds him of that very painful experience that he had with his holographic family. Belana Torres had dinner with the doctor and his family, and she's like, ugh, these people are boring, they're dull. Let me convince him to spice things up a bit. Make them a real family with real issues. And, it ended very, very badly. Okay, the little girl got injured playing Parisi squares and died. I'm not sure if he would ever have forgiven Belana for that. Because after the little girl dies, he just shuts down the wife and the son programming, and they're never spoken of again on Voyager. So when Doctor met Sam in episode 1, that just brought all of that back for him. And that's why he's been acting so funky. So he pleads with the makers. Listen, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way we can do this. I can't let this child die like mine did. So they proposed, okay, well, we maybe can't fix her, but we can run her back, start over, because the makers did not give Sam the capability to be resilient, to process trauma and the likes as organics would. She was basically 200 and some odd days old in the body of a 17-year-old. And it was nothing from 0 to 17. So it's like, okay, we can probably redo that. But you'll have to be willing to stay here to raise her for those 17 years for her to get that experience that she didn't have. And the doctor was like, nah, I'm not sure if I can do that. But Ake's looking at him like, you listen, you're the best opportunity for her to have a childhood, for her to grow up and to learn to be resilient. And not only that, she'll get to keep the memories that she's had at the Starfleet Academy and her friends and all. She'll get to keep both sets of her memories, but she'll integrate them and to be a different version of herself, Sam 2.0, as it were. And of course, 17 years on Cask is only 2 weeks in Earth years, in Earth time rather. So he decides, okay, I'm going to go all in. And I'm really glad he did. So now, as opposed to being her mentor, the doctor gets to be Sam's father and to raise her from a baby up until 17 on Cask. So the team gets together to do the play, much to the joy of Tilly and Reno watching on. And we get to watch the doctor raise Sam from the prettiest little baby up until her current form. And she gets to come back and embrace her classmates. And time will tell just how different that this Sam will be to the Sam that was before. Because this Sam has to be a little bit different. We can't just throw away what she's already been through. But this new experience should give her a little bit more gravitas. I mean, you don't have to completely take away the silly, bubbly Sam that we know and love. But she should have a little bit of gravitas to her now. She should be a little bit more grounded and not so naive. But we will see. Time will tell. So hopefully the actress will know to do her a little differently, because this is a different Sam. This is not the same Sam who was at Starfleet Academy. All in all, this was a pretty good show. This was a pretty good episode of the show. Okay, they're allowed to have a couple of bobbles, and I think episode 7 was the bobble that I allowed them to have. But this episode, this was nice. This was grounded. It did not erase what happened, but allowed the cadets to work through it. It was pretty cool. And it was fun. I mean, it can be fun and serious at the same time. So we didn't have any hijinks going on, and that was good. But this one was pretty good, and this was pretty much of a tearjerker. Because like I said, the Doctor, MVP of the episode. And honestly, the Doctor and Sam's story should have been the A story instead of Tarima. We could have reduced Tarima's angst just a little bit. Because I didn't really like the way they brought her back in. They snatched her out of the War College. All of the Starfleet cadets are looking at her like she's something that they have to fear. And I'm sitting there thinking, didn't she save everybody's life, everybody else's life? Because she couldn't save Bobby and Tomov. Yeah. But she saved everybody else. She made sure that the Furies didn't feed on y'all. So why are y'all acting like that? And of course, they shouldn't have snatched her out of the War College like that. At the very least, they could have made it her choice to join Starfleet as opposed to the War College again. But she had chosen the War College just simply because of her abilities. And let's be honest, Calrec will probably found a way to turn her into a weapon. But yeah, this one is a pretty solid episode. And there's only 2 episodes left for this season. So, this is good Star Trek. Despite what all the other folks say, this is good Star Trek. And I really want the streaming people, give us some more episodes, okay? 10 is just not enough for a show like this. 10 is not enough for a season. And I understand folks have the attention span of a dying grasshopper. But come on. You can, if you're not going to give us 26 episodes a season, give us at least 16. 14. Because 10 is not enough. And this is a really good show. I really enjoy it. So hopefully, we'll see a little bit more of Tilly before the season finale. And if not, hopefully we'll see a lot more of her in season 2. And of course, I'm biased. So you want to know who else I want to see? Let's see some more Discovery peeps. Let's let Admiral Burnham, if she's Admiral in this time period, Captain Michael Burnham, let her just peep her head in. Let us see Discovery one more time. Let us see Saru and everybody one more time. Because it's a shame to let those caliber of actors go. And yeah, I understand Sonequa Martin Green is still working on another series, but it's owned by CBS. Paramount owns CBS. So she can pop in just to say hey, to let us know that she and Book are okay with their son. So yes, I'm heavily biased towards Discovery. Discovery is my favorite Star Trek series. And it could help us ground things and figure out, what is exactly happening and the timing. Because, yeah, Discovery's still around. So, yeah. Come on. Show us what the Discovery peeps are up to. Now, if you decide to go back in time and, check base with other members of other shows, I'm down with that too. But no, you can't leave Discovery out. Okay? And then if I could ask for one more thing, okay? Redo Section 31 as a show. Give Michelle Yeoh whatever she asks for. Because that Section 31 movie was a fool. And not a good one either. So yeah. That's just my Star Trek wish list for those of all who might have something to do with it. For those of you out there who might be able to speak into somebody's ear. But yeah, I enjoyed episode 8. And I think that they're going to probably do their best to deliver a gut punch for the penultimate episode next week. So I'm just going to gird my loins and prepare, for that gut punch that they're going to try to do. And please do not let the season finale be a cliffhanger. If you're going to make us wait months for the second season while y'all still working on it, don't let the season finale be a cliffhanger. Do whatever it is you got to do, but make sure that we're not left hanging for months waiting for season 2. Great day. Live long and prosper.